Hello, you beautiful ladies. Angie Prince here. Look at y'all are smiling. It's making me smile. So this is the first time we're doing a video on the Unchained Goddess newsletter. When we're featuring Mary Catherine this month as our Unchained Goddess. So I'm super excited. Going to try to keep it a little shorter, but thinking we're going to do an interview with her that is so much more expansive. But the reason that we're doing this is we're bringing Unchained Goddesses together to feature them so that they can broadcast their amazing gifts to the world, right? We can get clear, we can allow amazing things into our life. But when we get to the part of broadcasting to others and to share that light with the world, that's where we sometimes get, I don't know, hung up. And that is the whole point of the Unchained Goddess newsletter, so that we can have a space to share these gifts with the world. And it's so funny because right before we did this, right, Mary Catherine, I asked, I'm like, I would really love for you to talk about dowsing. And in her mind, it's so easy and she's so good at it that she's like, well, shouldn't this be harder? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I should talk about something harder. And I love that because that's where we are, right? When we get so good at something and we just have a genius zone, we just don't broadcast for ourselves in the way that other people do. So I'm like, well, I'll broadcast for you, because the most interesting thing happened a few weeks ago. I had such a massive headache and I reached out to Mary Catherine. Oh my gosh, my head hurts. And she's like, do you want me to send you some colored light? And I'm like, yes. And then she's like, are you at home? And I'm like, should I be? What's about to happen? I don't know what's happening right now. So, but whatever it was she did was amazing. I felt the shift immediately. It was so good. And so I came back and I'm like, what did you do? And she started talking about it. How long have we known each other, Mary Catherine? For like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've known you this whole time, and I know that you do dowsing, and I never stopped to go, now tell me more about this. So that's what this is about today. And then we invited Christina in because Mary Catherine has done this for Christina, and we get to hear what her experience is all about. So I want you to share with everybody anything you want to share with them about this amazing dowsing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on here and broadcast. Love it. I was super, super excited when you asked me to do this. So basically what dowsing is it's looking at a space, and you're looking at all the different lines that come into a space. So it could be your house, it could be your office, it could be a school. It would be amazing if it were a school. One day my vision is to do schools. But you look at the different energy lines coming in, and energy lines definitely play a huge key role in the way we live in a space. Now, we don't realize this. It's just kind of one of those things that you don't think about, like the energy that comes into your home. But I do, because I'm a dowser. And what our whole goal is to only bring in energy lines that are going to positively affect you and to affect and influence your space. So what I did for you, Angie, was the first step in dowsing, which is where we clear the space. So I did it more for the outside of your home rather than the inside of your home. But what I was really feeling was there was a lot of it was just like a lot of static, a lot of noise. And I remember feeling all this kind of fairy energy, and just the sprites and the gnomes. And I was like, I remember messaging you and being like, do you have a lot of fairies on your property? And you said, yeah, you did. So the first part of dowsing is we clear a space. So instead of taking sage or Palo Santo and, clearing it that way, I create portals. There's an ascension portal that helps spirits and anything that needs to go up, go up. It's created out of 27, 24 light frequencies. And then I make a descension portal, and that's for our fairies and our sprites and our gnomes and anything that goes down. Not necessarily bad things go down. It's just the different levels of where beings live. So that's what I did for you, Angie, is I just created a couple portals, and I just drained everything out that was ready to be released. I kind of heard like a big cork pop, when I did it, and I was like, okay, this is a long time coming.
Yes, it was. And that's how I felt, and I was like, wow, it's like everything got lighter and not
Yeah.
as heavy. I don't know. It was just, it was amazing. And my headache went away immediately. And I'm like, this is amazing, amazing. So did you
Yeah.
do the same thing for
And
Christina?
I did do the same thing. I did the first step we did together. We did outside, we cleared her space, and then we also did it inside as well. I only do the inside parts when I have like 100% permission from someone, because you know, consent is really great. And some people who are very sensitive can feel if I'm in their space or not. And when I say I'm in their space, I mean I'm energetically in my space. So what I do is I connect up to my monad, and then from there I connect in, because each house and each person has their own monad. So it's kind of like changing the radio station so that both of our frequencies kind of match up. And then I'm able to kind of get a better understanding of what's happening in the space, which is nice when Corona's happening, because I don't have to physically be there. I can be, you know, right here and do all of this from the comfort of a cozy chair.
Love it. So
Yeah.
Christina, do you want to share your experience about what you felt when Mary Catherine did this for you?
Yes. Okay. So at first, I drew a map of my house for Mary Catherine, and she was able to identify based on just directions where all of the lines in my house were. And she also identified some places that were harboring some definite negative energies. And once I had connected with Mary Catherine, and we did this beautiful meditation before we even got started on the clearing, which just really helped me get into that flow of feeling a little bit lighter, almost like lifting a weight. And I could definitely feel Mary Catherine's energy with me when we were doing the meditation. And then she walked me through placing all of the rods around my house. Yes, just like those. And then as I placed them, she explained what they were going to do. I don't remember all of the colors exactly at this point, but once we were completely finished and she had opened those portals, and just it almost is that cork pop feeling, because my, like, right in my bedroom there was a negative space near the bed, and it was on my husband's side of the bed. His mood improved, his sleep improved almost that night, almost immediately. And you could just walk through the house and it was just so light feeling. It felt like nothing bad could ever happen again. Almost like it just felt so good to be in my house. And everybody wants their house to be a place of feeling good and returning home. And you just don't realize how much of the negative energies can just collect in different areas as you live here. And so I would definitely recommend the service, because the way that it made me feel about my home was at least a tenfold improvement.
Yeah. And right now with Corona and everybody's just like, your home is everything right now. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary Catherine, we've already talked about this. I'm going to be scheduling my entire home because you have my consent and I really, really need this done. So I'm going to definitely be doing this. I love this. And I love that you shared it. Is there anything else that you would really, really, really need someone to know or want someone to know before I say, you better go get on her calendar?
Yes. Well, okay. So when we think about clearing a space, right, we think of sage, Palo Santo, sweetgrass, and walking around. And that's great, but that's kind of like going through your house and doing like a light dusting, right? And you know the dust is going to come back, so you're going to have to keep doing it. The thing with dowsing is that it is permanent. That sounds kind of scary or kind of exciting, right? I'm not saying that you don't have to go back and sage, because that's something that I think is a beautiful ritual and something that people really appreciate. And it's a way for people to connect into their space. But what actually happens with dowsing is it basically stops lines from coming in, which means that your space is always going to stay at that like energy level that it's at. So unless there's an earthquake in Japan, or, you know, unless the like earth shifts in some drastic way, your house is going to be set, which I think is super, super amazing and really nice to know when you're getting this service done, because then you don't have to, like, I suggest a checkup every year just to like check in, see if any lines have moved, because lines are energy lines. So if someone, I don't know, some wizard decides to move a line,
I love
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the earthquake happens, or there's a hurricane or something like crazy happens in the world. Sometimes those lines will shift.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We just go back in, and it's actually a lot less of a whole scope because you've already done the ground lines for it. So I just want to remind people that this is kind of more of a permanent solution instead of just a Band-Aid that like you have to change out every few weeks.
I did not know that. So I'm really, really glad you said that, because that is amazing. And it is 2020. So you definitely need to check up if you've done this before, because 2020, it's just the year for craziness, and two hurricanes coming at Georgia right now.
Oh
so
my
just
gosh.
saying. Yeah, I know. Right.
I know. Well, it was funny. I was just in a class for this because I'm building my way up to being a master dowser, and they were talking about how there is an energy line for the coronavirus.
Oh my gosh.
And it's on the south side, which I was like, why aren't we shouting this to the world? Like, this is amazing. Like, how do we not know this? But yeah, there's a line that you can check and see if it comes into your house. And you can block that line too.
Now I need to get back on your calendar too.
Right? And I hope everybody who's watching this video right now just heard that Corona has a line. We're all in our houses. This would be the time. I'm just saying. So that is
and I don't want to freak people out about it, because I think that like I'm not here to like spread the fear or like capitalize on something like that, because that's just not who I am, and it's not in my frequency. But there is a line, and it's something that I think a lot of people might feel comfortable looking into. Some people have the line coming into their house and some people don't. And if you have the line coming into your house, just like if you have a negative vortex, it's not a bad thing. We just we fix it and we move on.
There you go. Right? And awareness is power. And that was what this whole thing was about, is letting you broadcast and bringing awareness to this. And I love it. I love it. So I'm going to check in with you ladies before I sign off with all the beautiful ladies watching this. Is there anything else that we would want to end this video with, other than a to everybody who's watching? Okay.
I think that's a good way to end.
I think it's a good way to end. I appreciate you both so much. Mary Catherine, thank you for being my Unchained Goddess of the Month. Christina was last month, but now we got to go back and do a video in a future month. So this was delightful. I love you both so much. I love every lady watching this. Make sure you reach out to Mary Catherine at Intuitive Designs by Mary Catherine. And I will put that link in our newsletter so that you can get right to her. And this was fabulous. Mwah. Love you all so much. Okay, oops. I'm going to end up ending this meeting. Hang on. No, I don't want to do that. So I'll go back and cut that last part out in the video editor. I can't find where to turn off the, oops, up there.